right, so this session will be recorded for everyone so that you can view it again on YouTube. I'll post it probably by tomorrow. And then if you have any questions while we're presenting today, our chat box is going to be open. If we have not met before, I am Ms. Bing, our assistant principal here at Crown Point. On the call, I also have Ms. Feliciano. She is our curriculum resource teacher for K through 4. And then we also have our Dean of Curriculum, Ms. Hernandez. They are both on. They are going to be manning our chat box today. So if you have any questions while the presentation is occurring, just type them in the chat box. They'll answer right away. If I am able to catch them and it's something that I think everybody probably needs to hear, I'll go ahead and read it out loud for you guys. So we are going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to watch a presentation. It's about 8 minutes directly from Orange County. And that video is going to give you some of the background information involved with the promotion requirements for 3rd grade. After that video, I'll come back on and I'll explain some things that are specific to Crown Point and your students in particular. And then from there, we will answer any questions that we missed, and then we will let you guys go. So it will be a pretty quick meeting. So let me, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Ms. Hernandez, if you'll keep letting people in, or Ms. Feliciano, just keeping watch on that because I might not see it as I am sharing my screen. All right. And then just let me know if the sound isn't working properly, and I'll restart the video if I need to. So here, this is the presentation directly from Orange County.
Welcome to this presentation for parents about the 3rd grade portfolio. A great deal of research indicates 3rd grade is a critical point in the development of reading skills. Students who are not reading on grade level by 3rd grade are at greater risk of not being career or college ready by the conclusion of high school. For this reason, the Florida legislature passed a law indicating 3rd grade students must score a level 2 or higher on the Florida Standards Assessment in reading in order to be promoted to 4th grade. Several years ago, schools typically administered portfolio assessments in the spring to students reading below grade level to begin building a portfolio that might be used as a good cause exemption that would allow the child to be promoted to 4th grade. In recent years, schools have encountered students who are reading at or above grade level and therefore not identified as potential candidates for retention who did not take the FSA. The school has no way of knowing which students are actually answering questions on the test until the results are returned near the end of the school year. After several students who were not reading below grade level refrained from taking the FSA and then became ineligible for promotion to 4th grade, the school board determined that all students would be able to complete a portfolio over the course of the school year using classwork assignments that met the state requirements for the portfolio. There are several good cause exemptions approved by the state legislature that allow 3rd grade students in special circumstances to be promoted despite earning a level 1 on the FSA in reading. We will be primarily talking about A3 and A4. A3 involves approved alternative assessments, while A4 addresses the portfolio. The state has approved the following assessments that, if given after the 3rd grade FSA and if the student scores at or above the 50th percentile, may be used for a good cause exemption. The only one of these that is currently administered in Orange County Public Schools is the iReady diagnostic. However, students coming to OCPS from other school districts who have these other approved alternative assessments on their records as being administered after the 3rd grade FSA may also be eligible for a good cause exemption. Those other approved alternative assessments include Iowa, Stat 10, Measures of Academic Progress, STAR Enterprise, and Terra Nova. As you can see, state requirements for work included in a student portfolio used for a good cause exemption in 3rd grade are extremely detailed and very specific. For this reason, the assignments that the classroom teacher gives over the course of the third grade school year are typically not going to fit these requirements. In the event an assignment does fit these requirements, of course it can be considered for inclusion in the portfolio. The third grade required assignments that we are going to be discussing during this presentation do meet all of these requirements set forth by the state. Schools have been implementing the embedded portfolio plan for several years. Each year, changes are made based on feedback from teachers and parents. Students do not begin the required assignments until January, and the assignments conclude by mid-May. This will allow students to receive several months of reading instruction before they independently tackle assignments that use third grade level text. Questions that showed patterns of incorrect responses, even among highly skilled readers, have been eliminated. Input from third grade teachers is sought each year in order to make adjustments to the assignments. As mentioned before, the required assignments do meet the requirements of the state rule for portfolio, and therefore each third grader will be building a portfolio during the course of the school year using regular classwork assignments. All third graders will complete all 11 required assignments. Within the assignments, there are a total of 75 questions. As there are 3 pieces of evidence required for each of the 22 standards within the portfolio, this means there is an additional padding of approximately 9 questions. Questions in each assignment align with standards that have already been taught when the student completes the assignment. This will also yield helpful information for the classroom teacher. The required assignments are given in the same setting as any independent classwork assignment. They are not administered in a testing environment. While the assignments do count for a classwork grade, the district recommends that schools average all required assignment grades during the quarter and then count that one averaged grade as 10% of the overall ELA grade. This prevents the assignments from having a detrimental impact on a student's grade if the student is not experiencing success with the required assignments. Because the required assignments potentially could be used as an alternative to a secure test, the FSA, the assignments themselves may not be shared with parents. Teachers are encouraged to share the tracking sheet by standard form with parents so that parents can see which standards may require additional work. The tracking sheet by standard serves as a record of progress towards the completion of the portfolio to meet good cause exemption requirements. It is required for all third graders. The portfolio score sheet is needed only for those third graders who will be continuing with the portfolio after the FSA results have been received. One of the advantages of the embedded portfolio plan is that all students will have the opportunity to complete a third grade portfolio during the course of the school year. Previously, it would be necessary for students to attend summer school to have the opportunity to complete the portfolio. Additionally, the required assignments hopefully will alleviate many concerns about promotion and provide a safety net for students who may have testing anxiety or who are unexpectedly absent during the testing window. Finally, the embedded plan supports the classroom teacher since the statute indicates the teacher plays a role in creating the portfolio. It also assists the teacher in monitoring student mastery of standards so that instructional adjustments can be made. The third grade portfolio plan is communicated in a variety of ways. This recorded presentation, along with live and recorded webinars for teachers, coaches, and administrators, are available throughout the school year. Parents of all third graders receive a letter from the school outlining the requirements for promotion and the required assignments. Schools will be sending the same letter home with quarter 1 report cards. In summary, here are a few important points about third grade required assignments. Please keep in mind they are assignments and not assessments. They are not appropriate as a summative measure or as a teaching tool. Reviewing incorrect answers with students is not the best use of instructional time. Third grade teachers have far more meaningful ways to teach the standards. Required assignments may not be sent home with students or given to parents, as this would compromise the integrity of third grade portfolios across the district. The tracking sheet by standard must transfer with each student if a student moves. All schools are required to maintain the tracking sheet by standard for each third grade student. Finally, the required assignments provide the minimum evidence needed for the portfolio. Some students may need additional opportunities in the spring to successfully complete a portfolio. Additional information will be provided to teachers in the spring to support those endeavors, and parents are always involved in those decisions. A number of resources are available for those who have questions about the third grade portfolio, required assignments, or good cause exemptions. Parents should first contact their child's third grade teacher and administrators at the school to have questions answered. School staff have a number of district resources available, including Carla Owens in Academic and Guidance Services for questions about promotion, good cause exemptions, and acceleration. Questions about the third grade portfolio may be directed to Michelle Platzer in Elementary Curriculum and Instruction. Thank you very much for joining us for this presentation today, and have a great year.
Okay, so that's the Orange County video. We are going to now talk specifically about Crown Point. So in the video, I'm going to go over some of the main talking points and things that you want to keep in mind as parents of third grade students. So first and foremost, there are 3 different alternative assessments in addition to the FSA. So the FSA, of course, is the primary assessment. Every student will take it, and our goal is that every student will score a 2 or higher. These other alternative assessments are in case a student does not perform high enough on the FSA. We'll receive those FSA scores by the end of the school year. Third graders take their assessments first, so that we can get those scores ahead of time. So there are 3 different alternative assignments that we offer at Crown Point: iReady, NWA or MAP testing, and the portfolio assignments. So in the video, I know Orange County specifically uses iReady. We, however, give our students 3 different options. And so we'll talk a little bit about each of those options. So I'll speak specifically first about the portfolio. So portfolio assignments are completed during school. They are assignments, not assessments. So it's not content that can be shared. They won't come home with the assessment and say, or assignment and say, you know, this is what I got. The teacher will give the assignments in class and hold on to that documentation. If a student needs the portfolio, then a scoring sheet is created or a tracking sheet is created, and that student's scores are documented. Every student will begin the portfolio process. Once we take our assessments and we find out which students may not have scored high enough, then we'll continue the portfolio process for those students specifically. So all students will start the process, but we may not need to finish it if their assessment scores are high enough. So just a few reminders specifically about the assessments. Students will receive 1 opportunity to complete each assessment in the spring. So that's one thing that is very, very important to note. So FSA will be completed first in April. Then they will have the opportunity to take iReady and NWA. iReady and NWA, however, will need to be 30 days apart. So FSA happens at the very beginning of April. Dates will be coming soon. Ms. Feliciano, who is our testing coordinator, will be providing all of the FSA dates to you all very soon as she prepares for testing season. So FSA for the third graders will take place early in April, and then we will schedule iReady soon after that, and NWA will be scheduled about 30 days after that. If your student scores high enough in iReady, we will not have them take NWEA. So all of our students in our school all take iReady. That's a requirement for us. NWEA, we reserve specifically for those students who did not score high enough, those third graders who did not score high enough in iReady. What we're trying to do is give your student as many opportunities as possible to show mastery before we even get our FSA results back. So summer bridge. So one thing they mentioned in the video as well is that if a student does not score high enough on the FSA, the iReady, the NWA, or the portfolio, they will receive one more opportunity for promotion by attending summer bridge. Just like last year, RCCP will host our own Summer Bridge Academy. Any third grade student who does not meet those promotion requirements, we are expecting them to attend. If they don't attend, then they will automatically be retained. This is your fourth opportunity. This would be their fourth opportunity to meet promotion requirements. At the end of summer bridge, an assessment will be provided. And that assessment will be either iReady or NWA. It'll only be one assessment. And that assessment will determine whether or not that student moves on to fourth grade. So there are 4 different opportunities for your student to pass or meet the promotion requirements for third grade. So you have the FSA, you will have the iReady, the NWA, the portfolio, and then the summer bridge opportunity. So technically it's 5. So it's 4 before the summer, and then that 5th one is in the summer. So that is the basics of the promotion requirements. The things that you want to keep in mind is that it's important that students take every assessment seriously. They should take every assessment seriously, because we're not able to give, retakes on iReady or retakes on NWEA. I know that all of the third grade teachers will make sure to have that conversation with students prior to taking those assessments. But as parents, you want to have that conversation as well, that there isn't a retake. Once they've completed the iReady assessment, once they complete the NWEA assessment, that score will stand, and we would not be able to give them any retakes. That's why there are different methods in which a student can show their mastery. So I put up on here on the screen all of the teachers' emails, because your third grade teacher is your first point of contact. All the information that is shared with you, they have already. And they can answer any of those questions about how your student is performing. I also included our curriculum team email addresses. So myself, assistant principal, and then Ms. Hernandez, our dean of curriculum, and then Mrs. Feliciano, our elementary curriculum resource teacher. So I'll go. I did not see too many. I do have one. I see one in the chat box that just says, what is the percentage of students that pass the FSA with a level 2? I don't have that percentage off the top of my head. That's a real specific number. I don't have that percentage off the top of my head, but what I will tell you is that you should have from your teachers, they all have your students' winter NWA and iReady scores. I recommend making sure you're looking at that score and seeing, how is your student doing? How far from being on grade level are they? So that you can help them at home as well as supporting them in school, because you want to know where they stand now. Because we start as teachers, we start making plans for our students and how we're going to support them in this semester. But you want to be aware of that as well, parents. So are there any other questions that I did not answer? I know the presentation is very short. So feel free to ask your questions at this time. So I got one more. What are some websites and testing sites that can help prep them with all the upcoming testing? That is a teacher question. I don't know, Ms. Feliciano, if you have any off the top of your head. The biggest thing is iReady, making sure that they're getting on iReady consistently, passing their lessons, because just getting on and doing the minutes, that's not enough. They will definitely need to make sure that they're actually passing those lessons. Do you have any other recommendations? Was just a parent asking for recommendations for websites and things to practice.
I was just going to say that the Florida Department of Education, they have like practice tests that's based off the FSA that the students can do online. So if you just search in Google like FSA practice test, it'll come up on the FLDOE website.
Okay. And then I see one more that just says, will the FSA no longer exist next year, according to Ron DeSantis? Yes, that is what we are told. However, we do not have the details on what it's being replaced with. Like, how are they going to make decisions about testing and promotion and things like that. They have not confirmed that, but yes, they are changing the assessment and moving away from that yearly assessment at the end of the year. So another parent did ask if the student passes the FSA and iReady, then NWA and portfolio are not needed. That is correct. That is correct. They need to show mastery using one of those methods. So FSA, iReady, NWA, portfolio. I'm sorry if you already answered. Did they say that if they score high enough on iReady, they don't need to take FSA? That is correct. Well, no, that is not correct. They'll take FSA first. FSA is the first assessment they take in April. We take the alternative assessments after FSA. So they are required to take the FSA. As far as self-confidence, in testing, that's the reason why the portfolio assignments are called assignments and not assessments, so that the students aren't feeling like they're in another testing environment with those assignments. They're very short. They're more like classwork instead of like taking a test. So that helps, because that's an opportunity to meet the mastery promotion requirement without necessarily having to pass just one large test. If you're having any issues getting into iReady, Clever, you definitely want to reach out to your classroom teacher first. There is not a formal process for opting out of FSA. Students need to take it, especially in 3rd grade, because that is a way to be promoted. And so if a student doesn't take the FSA and then they don't meet the other requirements, then they would automatically be retained. So you want to definitely take the FSA and make sure that your student has every opportunity to be promoted. Any other questions that I am missing? Ms. Fulton, I don't know if you want to unmute yourself, but Ms. Fulton did just say she is working on self-confidence and anxiety with her students as well, just because it is stressful. It's 3rd grade, their first year testing, and it's a big deal.
I was just gonna say that, we do want them to take it seriously, but we also, especially towards when we get closer and closer, we emphasize that, we've been practicing everything all year long, and we are ready to rock this test. Yeah. So we work on that too.
Thank you, Ms. Fulton, for sharing that. This is a good question. Is it possible that an all-A student can be held back if they don't pass the FSA? Yes. So that promotion requirement does not have anything to do with grades. They do have to pass the FSA or one of the alternate assessments in order to be promoted. So the thing about the FSA is we won't know those scores until May, the end of May. So by the time we find out FSA scores, your student will have already taken iReady and NWA if their iReady was not high enough. So we don't wait for the FSA scores. We already have a schedule. We'll create a schedule where they'll take all those assessments before they get those FSA scores. And then once we get the FSA scores, it's just a confirmation for us. And we will share those with parents as well. All right, any other last minute questions? Just a reminder that this will be posted on our YouTube channel. So any parents that missed it or you missed the beginning part, you will be able to rewatch it and get the full presentation. Anybody else? Questions? Yes, the FSAassessments.org is a good site. It does show you practice tests, so that's a good something good for you to look at with your students so you see what the questions look like. Teachers will be doing practice assessments and things in class, but it's also good for you as a parent just to see what does that test really look like for them, and what are the expectations. The FSAassessments.org is a really good website for that.
I'm trying.
Ms. Fulton recommended when practicing, make sure you practice going back into the text to answer the questions and eliminate answer choices. So that is a very, very, very good piece of advice. Reread over and over again and make sure they're going back in the text. And so just keep in mind, thank you, Ms. Daniels, for that reminder too, is that when those students are taking the portfolio assessments, they are independent. So they can't receive any sort of assistance unless they have an IEP or a 504 that allows any sort of accommodation. Outside of that, they take it as an independent assignment. So there won't be any assistance from teachers with those portfolio assignments specifically. I know they kind of mentioned it in the video, but just in case. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any other questions. Please reach out to your third grade teacher if you're concerned about your student, or if you want more information on how you can help them or what they need to know. This video will be posted on YouTube as well as our Facebook page, so you can find it if you want to reference it in any way. We appreciate you guys taking the time today, and we hope you all have an awesome rest of your week.